If you are like most men, you measure intimacy by technique, tempo, and how long you can keep the moment going. You try to read her through words, and when the room goes quiet, you start working harder. You think more effort means more connection. Then she turns distant, you feel confused, and you wonder what you missed. The truth is, you were listening with your ears when you needed to listen with your presence. Here is the shift. Women do not get attached to technique. They bond to energy. She is scanning your breath, your calm, your intention. She is deciding whether she can relax into you, not because of what you say, but because of who you are while you are with her. That is why silence can be louder than praise, and a steady rhythm can feel safer than 100 promises. In this video, I will hand you a clear map. You will learn the sensations she rides in real time, the trust checks her body runs automatically, the rhythm that lets her surrender, and the aftercare that writes the memory she keeps. All grounded in Stoicism and psychology, made simple, respectful, and real. If you want depth without drama and intimacy that lasts after the lights go out, stay here. Let's get into it. Number 1. The calm that opens her body and mind. Every man thinks he needs to impress her with intensity, faster, harder, more effort. But what she truly responds to isn't force. It's calm. It's the grounded energy that tells her, you're safe here. That's the moment her body and mind begin to open, not because of excitement, but because of trust. Let's take Mark and Lisa. Mark's 55, a carpenter from Ohio. Lisa's 51, a nurse who's been through enough in life to know when a man is rushing versus when he's present. When they first started seeing each other, Mark did what he thought women wanted: performance. He tried to prove his passion, to show effort. But Lisa wasn't reacting the way he expected. She didn't melt. She tensed up. She smiled politely, but something in her stayed guarded. One evening, Mark changed one thing. Instead of trying to do, he decided to be. He slowed down, focused on his breathing, and stopped thinking about what was next. He stopped talking. He stopped trying. He just stayed in the moment, quiet, attentive, fully there. And that's when Lisa's body relaxed, her shoulders softened, her breathing deepened. Later, she told him, "It wasn't what you did, it was how still you were. I could finally feel you." That's the difference. Women sense everything: your rhythm, your tension, your impatience. They can feel if your mind is wandering, if you're trying to control the moment instead of sharing it. Calm energy tells her nervous system, I don't have to guard myself. And once that happens, connection becomes effortless. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That quote applies perfectly here. You can't control her reactions, her emotions, or her pace. But you can control your own energy. The calmer you are, the more she feels that control. And, ironically, that's what makes her let go. Physiologically, this is science. When you are calm, your breathing slows, your heart rate steadies, and your energy signals safety. Her body reads that before her mind ever does. That's why she can sense when you're nervous even if you smile. She's not analyzing words, she's reading your body language, your pulse, your presence. This calm doesn't mean passivity, it's alert stillness. You're not disengaged, you're centered. You move with purpose, not panic. You touch with awareness, not ego. You speak softly because you know silence can be louder than words. That's what Stoic men master: control over the internal, not dominance over the external. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to control the outcome, you start controlling the energy. When you stop performing, she starts feeling. Because your calm gives her something she can't create on her own: stability. That stability is the foundation of real desire. Mark told me later, I used to think passion was chaos. Now I know it's peace. That's it. Passion isn't about speed or power, it's about presence. It's when your energy leads her without force, when your stillness gives her permission to fall deeper into the moment. So next time, instead of thinking about what to do, focus on how to be. Breathe deeper, move slower, feel steadier. Because your calm isn't just attractive, it's contagious. If you've ever noticed her relax when you slowed down, drop a comment below. I've felt that. Stay with me, the next part reveals how she reads your energy long before you ever touch her. Number 2. Her instinct reads your energy, not your words. You can tell her you're confident. You can say the right things, plan the perfect night, even compliment her exactly the way you think she wants to hear. But here's the truth, none of it matters if your energy doesn't match your words. Women don't listen with their ears first. They listen with their nervous system. Her instinct scans you before her logic does. She feels your tension, your calm, your authenticity. From the moment you walk in, her body is already gathering data. It's not conscious, it's primal. She's reading your breathing rhythm, your micro-expressions, the pauses between your words. It's her survival mechanism, an ancient part of the brain that evolved to detect safety and threat. When your energy is scattered, when you're anxious, or when your confidence is forced, she feels it, not through logic, through instinct. Stoicism teaches that truth isn't spoken, it's embodied. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The same applies here. Stop talking about being calm or confident, be it. You can't fake presence. You can only cultivate it. When you say, "I'm relaxed," but your shoulders are tense and your breath is shallow, she doesn't believe your words, she believes your body. When you try to sound smooth but your mind is rushing to impress, she feels dissonance. And dissonance kills attraction faster than any wrong move. But when your energy is aligned, when your tone, body and intention flow as one, she feels peace. That's when her guard drops. Stoic detachment doesn't mean you're cold or indifferent. It means you're not enslaved by outcome. You're not trying to manipulate her reaction. You're fully present, grounded in what you can control, your own energy. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom, in this sense, is power. The man who masters his inner state naturally leads the emotional tone of the moment. You might notice this when you're truly calm. Her breathing starts to sync with yours. Her voice lowers. The energy evens out. You're not chasing chemistry, you're creating harmony. Because energy is contagious, and the calmer one always leads. Psychologically, this is called emotional regulation. Her limbic system mirrors yours. That means your nervous system can either amplify her anxiety or neutralize it. If you're grounded, she'll feel grounded. If you're nervous, she'll tighten. That's why words often fail, because energy is the real language of attraction. Here's a Stoic truth most men forget. Stillness communicates strength. Silence communicates certainty. When you don't rush to fill every pause, when you can just be in the space with her, it sends a message louder than anything you could say. I'm comfortable with myself, and you can be too. That's the kind of energy that builds not only attraction, but emotional safety. This is where emotional honesty comes in. You can't fake calm by pretending. You create it by breathing, slowing down, and letting go of control. The Stoic man doesn't chase emotional reactions. He embodies emotional truth. So next time you're with her, stop thinking about what to say. Start listening not to her words, but to her rhythm. Match your breathing to peace, not performance. Because she isn't reacting to your sentences, she's responding to your state. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Stop suffering in your mind before she's even reacted. Stay in your body, stay grounded. When your energy is steady, she feels safe. When she feels safe, she opens. That's the difference between attraction built by talk and connection built by truth. If you've ever seen her energy shift the moment you calm down, drop a comment below. I've felt that. Stay tuned. The next part shows how rhythm, not words, is what truly pulls her in. Number 3. The rhythm she can't fake. There's something you need to understand. Rhythm isn't just about timing, it's about awareness. It's the invisible conversation happening between two nervous systems. The man who can feel that rhythm, who can sense it without rushing, is the man she'll never forget. Let me give you a real story. Tom, 57, owns a small landscaping business in Florida. After years of being married, he found himself single again and started dating Megan, 50, a Pilates instructor with a calm but intense energy. Their chemistry was instant, but something always felt slightly off. Tom told me I could tell she liked me, but sometimes she'd pull away like she was there but not fully there. When I asked him to describe how he approached intimacy, his answer explained everything. I guess I try to make it exciting, keep it moving, show I'm passionate. That word, moving, was the clue. Tom was rushing the rhythm. He was performing, not connecting. His energy didn't give Megan time to sync with him. I told him to do something counterintuitive, slow everything down. Match her breathing, watch her micro-reactions, feel her rhythm instead of forcing your own. He tried it, and what happened next stunned him. It was like she melted, he said. Her whole body relaxed. It felt natural, like we weren't trying anymore, just flowing. That's what rhythm really is, flow. The alignment of your internal state with hers. When your breathing, movement and energy fall into sync, the connection stops being mechanical and becomes emotional. She can't fake that, and you can't force it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's exactly what rhythm teaches you. Every pause, every hesitation, every breath is not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. When you stop fighting the silence and start moving with it, the energy deepens. The pauses between movements become the heartbeat of attraction. Women are hypersensitive to rhythm because rhythm signals presence. A man who's offbeat, too fast, too random, too eager, feels unsafe. But a man whose rhythm adapts to hers feels trustworthy. His steadiness lets her surrender, not just physically, but emotionally. Here's the subtle truth. Rhythm isn't about control, it's about listening. Most men are so focused on performing that they forget to feel. They think rhythm is about leading when really it's about tuning in. It's about adjusting, sensing when to move forward, when to wait, when to hold still. That's what creates chemistry that can't be faked, because it's built, not performed. Tom told me later, "When I stopped trying to make it exciting and just slowed down, she started responding like she'd been waiting for that the whole time." That's the paradox of rhythm. The more you slow down, the stronger the energy gets. You're not doing less, you're creating more space for her to meet you. Epictetus said, "If you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad." What he meant was self-awareness, understanding where you rush, where you overdo. Once you become aware, you can adjust. You can let rhythm lead you instead of forcing it. In relationships, rhythm is communication without words. It's how her body learns to trust yours, how her emotions sync with your calm, how she feels understood without explanation. And when you master that, you'll notice something powerful. She starts following your rhythm naturally. That's when real intimacy begins. So next time you're with her, stop trying to perform passion. Feel the rhythm. Let silence breathe between moments. Because rhythm, once found, doesn't need to be forced. It carries both of you. If you've ever felt that effortless flow where everything just clicked, drop a comment below. I've felt that. Stick with me, the next part reveals how real masculine power guides her without ever pressing. Number 4. Power without pressure, the masculine lead. Real power doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it doesn't rush, and it never tries to prove itself. Real masculine power is quiet, calm, and directional, like a river that carves through stone, not by force but by consistency. Women don't respond to pressure, they respond to certainty. And when you understand how to lead without pushing, she doesn't resist you, she trusts you. Here's what most men misunderstand leading. isn't about control, it's about containment. It's about holding the frame emotionally, mentally, and energetically so she can relax into it. When your energy is centered, she feels it. When your tone is grounded, her body mirrors that calm. When your actions are intentional instead of impulsive, she follows naturally. That's leadership without words. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In relationships, this translates to the best way to lead isn't to react to chaos, it's to remain calm in it. You don't match her storm, you anchor it. You don't chase her emotions, you hold space for them. That's what masculine leadership looks like, not dominance but direction. Think about how most men handle tension with women. When she gets emotional, they either shut down or try to fix everything. Both responses come from insecurity. One avoids, the other controls. The Stoic man does neither. He stays composed. He listens. He doesn't take her emotions personally because he knows they're not about him, they're waves passing through. He doesn't suppress her feelings. He steadies the current so she can find peace in his presence. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The same principle applies here. Leading doesn't mean commanding her. It means guiding through awareness. You listen not only to her words, but to her energy. You adjust without losing your center. You lead through steadiness, not strategy. When you embody this kind of quiet power, something profound happens. She begins to surrender control, not because she's weak, but because she feels safe. Women crave leadership that comes from composure, not coercion. They want to feel your confidence, not your ego. They follow a man who doesn't need to prove he's in charge, because his energy already says so. This is the balance. Stoicism teaches the harmony between strength and softness. True strength is not hardness, it's resilience. It's the ability to stay grounded even when everything around you moves. That's why a Stoic man doesn't compete for dominance. He simply embodies presence so deeply that it draws everything toward him. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free," and that's the essence of masculine leadership, freedom from needing to control outcomes. You lead by example, not by pressure. You create an environment of safety and trust where your calm becomes the compass she naturally follows. If you want to master this, to develop that unshakable masculine energy that leads without force and attracts without chasing, join our Stoic Men membership. Inside, you'll learn the practical tools to strengthen your emotional control, your confidence, and your presence. It's where men grow from reaction to direction, from chaos to composure. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Every day we release new lessons to help you embody true Stoic masculinity, the kind of presence that guides, protects, and inspires. Because the man who leads without pressure doesn't need to chase respect, he naturally commands it. Number 5. The echo of her past in your touch. Every woman carries her history inside her body. Every touch she's ever received, gentle or careless, patient or rushed, leaves an imprint. When you reach for her, you're not just touching her skin, you're touching everything that came before you. Her memories, her defenses, her expectations, they're all present in that moment. The mistake most men make is assuming they're starting fresh. But you're not starting on an empty canvas. You're walking into a story already half written. Take Michael, 53, a music teacher from Oregon. After years of marriage, he began dating again and met Sarah, 49, a creative director with a quiet strength. From the first moment, he felt a connection, but every time things grew more intimate, she would tense up, almost like pulling away without meaning to. Michael didn't understand it. "She liked me, I could tell," he said, "but it felt like there was a wall I couldn't see." That wall wasn't about him, it was the echo of her past. Somewhere in her story, she learned to associate closeness with risk. So when Michael moved too fast, even with good intentions, her nervous system remembered that fear. It wasn't conscious, it was cellular memory. The Stoics understood this dynamic long before modern psychology gave it language. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. You can't rewrite her past, but you can influence how she feels in your presence." When you approach her with calm, patience, and attunement, her body begins to reprogram itself. You become the space where her nervous system learns safety again. Michael decided to stop trying to break through and instead focused on simply being present. He slowed down. He touched less, but with more intention. He paid attention to her, breathing her eyes, the subtle ways she relaxed when he gave her space. Weeks later, she told him something that changed how he saw everything. "You don't touch me like you're trying to take something. You touch me like you're listening." That's what real intimacy feels like, listening with your hands, not grabbing with your ego. When you're aware of her history, you stop seeing hesitation as rejection and start seeing it as information. You adjust. You match her pace instead of forcing your own. That's when trust builds, not through words but through presence. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we may listen twice as much as we speak." The same applies to touch. Your hands should listen twice as much as they act. Every reaction she gives you is feedback. Every sigh, every pause, every shift in her body tells a story. The Stoic man doesn't rush to interpret or fix it. He observes, he adapts, he stays steady. This kind of awareness creates something powerful, emotional repair. When you move with patience and respect, you give her body permission to release what's stored, the tension, the fear, the guardedness. You're not healing her. You're giving her space to heal herself in your calm. Michael told me later, it wasn't about doing more. It was about doing less, but meaning every second. That's what women remember. Not the moves, not the words, but the feeling of being understood without explanation. So the next time you're with her, remember, you're not competing with her past, you're rewriting it through your presence. Every calm breath, every mindful touch tells her body, this time is different. If you've ever felt that moment where she finally relaxed when the wall quietly came down, drop a comment below, "I've felt that." Stay with me. The next part will show what happens when she finally surrenders completely, not because she's conquered, but because she feels safe enough to let go. Number 6. The moment she surrenders. There's a moment quiet, unspoken, when she finally lets go. Not because you've overpowered her, not because she's weak, but because something inside her recognizes safety. It's not physical first. It's psychological, emotional, even spiritual. It's the exact instant when her guard dissolves and her body follows her trust. That's the moment most men chase without understanding. You don't make her surrender. You allow it to happen. Every woman reaches that place differently, but the path is always the same, from her mind to her body. And the man who understands this doesn't rush. He's not trying to get there. He knows surrender isn't taken, it's given. And it's given only when she feels one thing, peace in your presence. The Stoics would call this harmony, the alignment of internal calm with external connection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful than your own soul." When you bring that peace into the space, it becomes contagious. She feels it. Her nervous system relaxes. Her breath deepens. The need to protect fades. It's not your dominance that disarms her. It's your steadiness. The paradox is that true surrender happens when she feels in control of her choice. That's why pressure never works. Force triggers defense. Calm invites openness. Stoicism teaches us that control over another person is an illusion. You can only control yourself, your breathing, your tone, your rhythm, and through that control you create the conditions for her to feel safe enough to let go. Think about what's happening inside her mind in that moment. She's scanning not consciously but instinctively. Is this safe? Can I trust this energy? Her body listens to your cues, your stillness, your patience, your consistency. If even one of those things falters, if your energy shifts into need or urgency, she senses it immediately. The spell breaks. That's why surrender isn't something you can demand. It's something you must earn through consistency, awareness, and integrity. The Stoics called this apatheia, not apathy, but freedom from emotional disturbance. When you hold that internal stillness, you communicate. Nothing here will harm you. You can rest. In modern psychology, this is what we call co-regulation. Her nervous system mirrors yours. If you're calm, she calms. If you're tense, she tenses. The masculine energy sets the emotional tone. That's leadership at the biological level. Your steadiness tells her body, you don't have to manage the moment, I've got it. And when she feels that, she lets go, not because she's weak, but because she finally doesn't have to be strong. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Surrender, then, is a kind of bravery, hers and yours. It requires courage to drop control, to let vulnerability exist without trying to manage it. And here's where most men fail. They confuse surrender with submission. They think it's about taking charge, when really it's about giving her permission to rest inside your presence. When she reaches that moment, something changes. Her breathing slows, her eyes soften. She's no longer doing, she's being. You feel it too. It's not about passion anymore, it's about unity. That's when intimacy moves beyond the physical. It becomes transcendence, the merging of trust and energy. This is what the Stoics meant by mastery, not dominance, but self-command. The man who can hold stillness in the midst of closeness, who can stay grounded when the moment peaks, becomes unforgettable. Because surrender, real surrender, doesn't happen often. And when it does, it rewires her memory of you forever. If you've ever felt that quiet, sacred shift, when the moment turned from movement to stillness, drop a comment below, "I've felt that." Stay tuned. The next part reveals why what happens after the surrender matters even more than the surrender itself. Number 7. What she feels after the peak. Here's what most men never realize. The real emotional test doesn't happen during the moment of passion. It happens after. When everything slows down, when her guard is down, and her body shifts from intensity to openness, that's when she feels the deepest truth about you. The way you handle those quiet minutes determines whether she remembers the experience as connection or confusion. Let's talk about Ryan and Claire. Ryan is 56, a financial advisor from Colorado. Claire, 51, is a writer, strong, independent, and emotionally intelligent. When they started dating, Ryan was confident, attentive, and patient. The chemistry between them was undeniable, but after every intimate moment, Ryan would roll onto his back, check his phone, or go silent. He didn't mean to be dismissive, he just assumed that once it was done, everything was fine. But Claire didn't see it that way. She started to feel unseen, even used, not because Ryan was cold, but because his energy dropped the moment it ended. What he didn't realize was that after the peak is when her nervous system is the most open. Her mind is still processing, her body is still absorbing the emotional tone of what just happened. In that space, silence isn't neutral, it's defining. Your calm, your touch, your presence after the high tells her whether she's safe to stay open or if she needs to close back up. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Right after the peak, her emotions are like wet paint. Everything you do next leaves a mark. When Ryan finally learned this, he decided to do something different. Instead of turning away, he stayed. He didn't fill the space with words or questions. He just stayed still, breathing with her. He put his hand on her back, steady, calm, unhurried. That tiny change shifted everything. Later, Claire told him, "That was the first time I didn't feel like the connection ended when it ended." That's the secret. The connection doesn't stop when the physical moment fades. Her body and mind are still tuned to your energy. What she feels in the minutes after peace or distance, safety or confusion, determines how deeply she bonds with you. From a biological standpoint, this is simple. After intimacy, oxytocin floods her system, the bonding hormone. But if your energy turns cold, her body feels withdrawal instead of warmth. It's not about words or performance. It's about energy continuity. She needs to feel that the same grounded presence you had before and during is still there after. That's how trust deepens. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The same applies here. The experience isn't defined by the event, it's defined by how you hold it. Do you rush to disconnect, or do you linger in the calm that follows? Do you let her feel seen in silence, or do you pull away to escape vulnerability? Ryan told me later, it wasn't about saying something profound, it was about staying. That's the essence of masculine energy, steady, not just in the pursuit, but in the stillness afterward. Because that's where she decides whether you're a moment or a memory. So next time, don't rush to move. Don't escape the silence. Stay with her in the afterglow. Let her feel your peace, not your absence. Because what she feels after the peak is what she'll remember long after the night fades. If you've ever felt that quiet connection linger long after the moment ended, drop a comment below. I've felt that. Stay with me, the next part reveals how your stillness, not your words, pulls her even deeper into that calm connection. Number 8. Stillness that drives her deeper. There's something magnetic about a man who knows how to be still, not motionless still. It's a kind of quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove itself, doesn't need to fill the air with movement or noise. Most men think excitement comes from doing more, but women feel attraction in the moments between, in the pause, in the silence, in the steadiness that says, "I'm right here, I'm not going anywhere." Stillness is not absence, it's presence without chaos. It's the calm that allows her to breathe, to soften, to drop deeper into herself. When your energy slows, hers follows. When you stop rushing, she stops guarding. This is where real depth begins, not in the performance, but in the peace you create. Stoicism has always taught that power comes from control, not over others, but over yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." That's exactly what happens here. Your calm mind doesn't just steady you, it steadies her. It becomes the grounding force that lets her feel safe enough to explore everything she's feeling. In the world today, stillness is rare. Everyone is rushing, reacting, overthinking. So when a man walks into a room and moves slowly, breathes evenly, speaks with intention, that energy hits differently. It's not laziness, it's mastery. You're showing that you're not ruled by impulse, not swayed by noise. You move because you choose to, not because you have to. That kind of control is profoundly attractive because it feels safe and powerful at the same time. When you're with a woman, this stillness becomes your greatest tool. It's not about freezing, it's about slowing down the tempo of the entire interaction. The slower you move, the more she feels. You create space for her body and mind to catch up, for her to meet you in the present. That's what drives her deeper, your refusal to rush the connection. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That applies perfectly to intimacy. Connection isn't built in haste, it's grown in patience. Every pause, every steady breath, every quiet look communicates more than 100 words. You're telling her, you don't need to perform. You can just be. And when she feels that, she naturally sinks deeper into the moment. Stillness also exposes truth. When you stop moving, you feel everything more clearly. The energy between you, her breathing, the subtle shifts in emotion. Most men miss these things because they're too focused on what's next. But the Stoic man understands that now is the only moment that exists. The more fully he inhabits it, the more magnetic he becomes. Women can sense when a man's energy is scattered, when his mind is chasing outcome instead of presence. But they can also sense when his focus is pure, when he's not rushing or pretending, when he's grounded in silence. That's when they feel drawn in. That's when their bodies relax and their emotions unfold naturally. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Stillness is about being fully somewhere, with her, with yourself, with the moment. You're not escaping into thought or performance. You're rooted. That's the energy that makes her feel seen without words, understood without explanation. So don't underestimate the power of doing nothing. Stillness is action, quiet, deliberate, meaningful. It's the kind of control that doesn't dominate, it invites. It's the space that lets desire breathe, expand, and transform from attraction into connection. Because when your stillness meets her trust, that's when she falls. Not for your words, not for your moves, but for the peace she feels only around you. If you've ever felt that shift when silence said more than anything else, drop a comment below. I've felt that. Stay tuned. The next part reveals how emotional presence, not intensity, becomes the real form of seduction. Number 9. Emotional presence is the real seduction. Most men think seduction is about what they do, the look, the voice, the touch. But real seduction, the kind that stays with her long after the night ends, has nothing to do with technique. It's about how present you are. Emotional presence is the ultimate form of attraction, because it tells her something no words can. You're safe to be yourself with me. Let's look at Daniel and Rebecca. Daniel is 54, a retired firefighter. Rebecca, 50, runs a small design business. They met at a local coffee shop and hit it off instantly. Daniel was funny, confident, and charming, the kind of man who made everyone around him feel comfortable. But when things got closer, Rebecca pulled away. She told him, "You're great to talk to, but sometimes it feels like you're here and not here." That hit Daniel hard. He realized that while he was talking to her, his mind was everywhere else, thinking about what to say next, how he looked, how to keep her attention. His presence was divided, and she felt it. So Daniel made a small but powerful shift. The next time they were together, he put his phone away, stopped trying to impress, and simply listened. He noticed her breathing. He paid attention to her tone, her pauses, her expressions. When she spoke, he didn't jump in with solutions or stories. He just stayed there, calm, grounded, listening fully. And that's when everything changed. Rebecca leaned in. Her voice softened. Her eyes held his longer. She wasn't reacting to his words. She was responding to his energy. That's emotional presence. It's the invisible current that draws her in because it says, "I see you." Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's exactly what emotional presence is, being, not performing. You don't need to prove your value through cleverness or intensity. You show it through attention. Presence is power because it's rare. In a world where everyone's distracted, a man who can stay centered becomes unforgettable. Women crave that depth, the feeling that when they're with you, nothing else exists. You're not checking your phone. You're not rushing. You're not half listening while your mind runs ahead. You're there fully in the moment. That's what makes her feel safe enough to open up, not just physically but emotionally. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness, and in intimacy, presence is kindness." It's the act of giving your full attention, of allowing her emotions to exist without judgment or distraction. That's the true art of seduction, making her feel seen in a way no one else does. When Daniel told me what happened after, he said, "It wasn't that she wanted me more, it's that she trusted me more." That's the truth. Emotional presence builds desire that lasts. It's not the kind that burns out after passion. It's the kind that deepens over time. So next time you're with her, don't focus on what to say or do. Focus on being there. Let her feel that your attention isn't divided. Let her see that your presence is steady. Because when a man's energy says, "I'm right here," a woman's heart can finally rest. If you've ever seen her open up just because you truly listened, drop a comment below. I felt that. Stick with me. The final part shows why what you do after she falls for your presence determines whether she'll ever forget you. Number 10. Leave her in peace, not in pieces. Every connection has an ending, whether it's the end of the night, the end of a chapter, or the end of a relationship. What separates men who are remembered from men who are forgotten is how they leave. Most men leave confusion, mixed signals, or emotional chaos behind them. But the man who lives by Stoic principles leaves something different: peace. Leaving her in peace doesn't mean walking away cold or indifferent. It means leaving her with clarity, with a sense of calm that says, "This was real and I meant it." It's about respect, not only for her, but for yourself. When you move on with grace instead of guilt or anger, you show her that your energy was never about possession. It was about presence. You see, women don't just remember the beginning of something, they remember how it ended. The tone of your exit becomes the echo of your presence. And if you leave her with confusion or pain, that becomes the story she tells herself about you. But if you leave her in peace, she'll remember your steadiness, your calm, your respect, long after the emotions fade. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Endings happen, people grow apart, life shifts, moments pass. You can't control that, but you can control the energy you bring to the moment of goodbye. A Stoic man doesn't burn bridges. He closes them gently. When you walk away, do it with stillness. No guilt trips, no drama, no need for last words meant to prove a point. Be firm, kind and clear. Tell the truth if there's truth to tell. And if words fail, let your calm be the message. She'll feel it. She'll know that what you shared mattered, even if it couldn't continue. Peace in this sense is your final act of strength. Most men let emotion dictate their exits. They react, argue, or disappear. But leaving her in peace takes discipline. It means knowing when to let go without resentment, when to honor the good without clinging to it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive." The same gratitude applies when you part ways. Instead of focusing on loss, be thankful for what you experienced. Because here's the truth, how you end something tells the world what kind of man you are. The immature man leaves wreckage behind. The Stoic man leaves balance. He doesn't seek to win or to be remembered, and that's exactly why he is remembered. When you can walk away without bitterness, when you can give her peace instead of pain, you prove that your presence was never dependent on outcome. It came from self-mastery. That's what real strength looks like. Not dominance, not control, but compassion anchored in calm. So when it's time to go, don't make her question your integrity. Let her feel it one last time, your steadiness, your respect, your peace. Because the man who can leave with grace will always be the man she remembers with quiet gratitude, not regret. That's what it means to be unshakable, a man whose presence soothes and whose absence doesn't destroy. Leave her in peace, not in pieces. What you've just learned are the 10 inner secrets of connection, the truths that go beyond technique, beyond words, and into real masculine presence. From calm energy to emotional stillness, from understanding her instincts to leaving her in peace. This is how a Stoic man transforms intimacy into something deeper, something lasting. If you're ready to master that presence, to control your emotions, attract with calm confidence, and understand feminine psychology through Stoic wisdom, join our Stoic Men membership. Inside you'll find lessons, mindset training, and guided practices to help you become the man who leads with quiet strength. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every day we share insights to help you grow stronger, steadier, and more centered in every part of your life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.